Hey everybody, welcome back. I want to say a big thanks to Warren Scope Mounts for providing us with the mounts for testing. These have been really good. We've been running these for over a year now. We've never had this come out of zero. We've never had a shift in impact or anything like that. The tracking vertically is absolutely perfect. There's been no issues with windage changes or anything. They're available in 30 mil and 34. Wanted to knock out a couple of final reviews for 2018, and so we're going to go with what we got. We got our nice light reflector off the back here, aka closet door. Those of you that are not familiar with our company, it's RangeTech, and we are in Canada and now in the US. If you want to find us online, it's rangetech.us and rangetech.ca. We're going to be linking both the sites together so that all our customers can enjoy the same product and level of service that we've been, delving out for years now. It's hard to believe that this company was actually started in 2011. And that brings us up to here. So what I have here is the Ruger Precision Rifle in 338 Lapua. And I chose to get this rifle from Ruger because my other Ruger rifles and other ones I've handled and stuff have been absolutely excellent. The Ruger Precision Rifle you see here is a culmination of years of successful rifles from Ruger at really, bargain prices for what you're getting. Essentially, you're getting a mixture of a chassis rifle and an AR-15 style, receiver and everything with a few modifications. And there's a lot of reasons this rifle has been so hugely successful and why other companies are now chasing to keep up as Ruger just keeps jumping into the future with it. And they, just the day before yesterday, I think it was, released news that they're going to have their baby Ruger precision rifles in 17 HMR and I think it's 22 Winchester Magnum, and those I'm sure will be shooters as well too. Man, I have enough rifles right now. Now I want one of those though. I've had this rifle out a couple of times now, but the snow has started to fly, and the footage I showed you is actually from about 4 or 5 weeks ago before we were into well into the sub-zero temperatures. Just to give you an idea of how cold it is, my Windex is frozen solid. Rather than, the cold being the issue, what becomes the issue around here in eastern Idaho is that, the access into backcountry stuff in where we shoot becomes closed off. The roads are not maintained. And so we're kind of shut out for a few months. And for those of you that have, been to Idaho for any kind of extended period of time, you'll know that there's 2 seasons in Idaho. There's cold and hot, and like last summer we had 35 degrees as an average over 3 months over the summer, and then boom, it's wet, rainy, and cold, and then snowy and crappy out. That on top of the situation in California and the smoke and stuff like that has really impacted what I could do here in eastern Idaho, because it funnels in on the Snake River Plain, and it's really affected visibility and stuff over the last year and a half. Like, we just stopped getting smoke here, about a week after the California fire finally got some rain. And, immensely frustrating, immensely expensive to get out and, be shut down because you've got so much particulate matter in. There's a point to this sort of recollecting as to what's been happening. We came super close, if not successful, in reaching out to 2.5 kilometers with this setup that you see here with the Warren Angle Eye ring set with this older Minox scope in it. However, I just, gave up and stopped even trying because I, for one, didn't have a spotter, and two, like I mentioned, the situation with the poor visibility and stuff out here is just stupid. So it was just an unrealistic expectation, and I'm not getting the clear air and stuff like that like Mark and Sam are getting down under. And so rather than frustrating myself any further, I just decided, I'll just let this go and work on some other skills and stuff. So I went on to start testing 2 new rifles, one of which being the Ruger Precision Rifle you see here. And I actually had some really good success, and I didn't even know it when I was out there. We took it out the initial day, zeroed it 5 mils under, using about 30 MOA of slant on the rings as they're adjustable, plus the 30 MOA rail, that's built or that comes with the Ruger Precision Rifle. We had enormous success right away. We lucked out. We had hero conditions that one day, and I managed to tag a piece of snow about this big on one of the dunes at 1,655 meters. So, you know, about 40 meters, 50 yards past a mile. And then I went out, and it was like a day or two later, and I had set up a target, a 24 inch by 24 inch target, the one that was pictured at the beginning, and I was nothing but frustrated because I actually did not know I hit the target, and I didn't know which shots hit the target when I later looked at the video. That I was, you know, about yay far above the target on my first round in a horrible mirage and horrible visibility. Really is an attestation to the accuracy of the ballistics program from Applied Ballistics in the Kestrel 5700. I really feel like, you know, if I'd had the hero conditions like I had the first day I was out with this, it would have been a first round hit because, you know, my windage was absolutely perfect on that. So I'll sort of walk you through what happened when I was shooting out there. I took my first shot, and, you know, knowing that it was high, seeing that it was high, I could actually see a bit of the splash from the dirt. I corrected and I hit the target on the second shot. I didn't see that. I couldn't see that. I didn't have a spotter with me. You know, I made another correction, and then I was like, no, I'm just going to go on what I feel to be the correct solution for it. I fired again and hit. And then, so round one was a miss, rounds 2 and 3 were a hit. Footage is continuous. I've just fast forwarded between it. And then I shot and I missed, thinking, you know, I hadn't hit, and I'm like totally mystified as where I'm, you know, where my rounds are going, because I'm not seeing any impact in the snow. So I'm like, or in the sand. So I'm thinking, it must be on the target. Maybe I'm just not seeing the impacts, which was pretty hard to believe, you know, with the 338 round hitting as hard as it hits, and it just being a, you know, that 1/8 inch plate. But for whatever reason, that 24 inch by 24 inch plate does not move a whole lot. And then I fired and I hit on the 5th round again, and then I wasted some ammo, and I was just like, okay, screw this. This is, you know, I'm backed way off in my magnification to cope with the mirage and everything, you know, which is the correct thing to do. But at the same time, you also sacrifice being able to see what's going on downrange, especially without the, you know, the help of a spotter there. And one thing, I didn't even realize this till recently, you know, like when guys are shooting at King of the 2 miles, actually they have 2 spotters, not just 1 spotter. And, you know, those guys are calling their wind and calling their corrections and everything. And I'm trying to do the same kind of thing, but I'm doing it on my own. And I'm just, you know, so I'm kind of limited, and I'm not getting the feedback that I really need. But all that aside, you know, and not making excuses and stuff, because I'm actually really happy with the results. I think it was pretty cool to get 3 out of 5 at, you know, well past a mile and kind of shooting blind. You know, that to me was a confidence boost in itself. And so I'd encourage you guys to get out in difficult conditions and stuff like that. You know, get out and work it until you fail, and then see what you can learn from it. And it was, I mean, this rifle provided a really good opportunity for that. And its amazing accuracy, I mean, really gave me the ability to do that. Stepped me forward, I think, personally as a shooter. So let's talk about the rifle and why I think it's a great rifle. Let's start at the front and we'll talk about the brake on it. So we've got a tunable tank style brake on it, and there's 4 ports on the top. If you want to adjust it, you know, you figure how you've got your rifle, you've got some muzzle rise or something, you can undo the Allen screws out of the top and tune it however you like it. Me personally, I don't like anything jetting above me. I want something that's going to control straight back recoil and not be pushing down or up or anything like that. So I'm leaving it alone. My plan is to switch out to the new Terminator TF brake that's specifically designed for this rifle. And that uses a lock nut just like the factory brake. And it goes on to the 3/4 by 24 inch thread that's on the end of this massive barrel. Now, the barrel itself is a really nice barrel. I've had a, you know, look through it, and the rifling in it is really, really clean, very impressive, especially given the price point. It's a unique contour. It is a straight contour around the chamber, and then it tapers down quite quickly, and then it is a straight contour from there. It is unlike any other contour. You've got really solid nice heavy duty forend on it. You've got M-lock slots so you can add rails to the sides, the bottoms, the top. And so if you want to run night vision or something on this, you could at the same time as running a scope. So if you're doing, you know, hog hunting or something like that, or predator eradication, I mean, you're good to go. I have installed the factory rail on the bottom, and that's held up really well. I've used those on all the rifles that come with it. And then I've installed the QD cup, you know, mount on the side here in the case, you know, I don't want to use, you know, the factory one cups that are actually built into the rail. So they've got them here, on the other side, same here and on the other side, and then one on the bottom. So you can actually carry this with a sling if you're brave enough. I wouldn't myself. I would rather use my Eberlestock pack with the scabbard and carry it in there. I think that's a safer way to carry the rifle, especially since I've had a QD cup failure before with one of the actual sling mounts that came out, and then the rifle crashed to the ground. I was so pissed when that happened, and that did throw off the zero, that, you know, that flip and then hitting the ground as hard as it did. From there, the front forend is actually mounted really solidly. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 bolts actually holding it on. I took all of those out. I Loctited them, put them back in, and then torqued them all down. I took the 30 MOA base off. And I actually put green Loctite under it, like I do for bedding, for my quick bedding solution anyway. And then I torqued it all down with blue Loctite on the threads. And I did the same with the action. The back end of it is really, really solid. There's absolutely zero movement in the folding stock, and, you know, it functions just as well as the other rifles. Like I mentioned in the first video, there's a surprising little change they've made to the bolt assembly, and look at the size of this. I mean, it's a massive bolt. It is smoother than the 6.5 Gen 2 that I have. That was a much needed improvement for me. It makes a lot less noise. They added these springs inside here that actually center the bolt shroud and the bolt, and actually allow it to travel in a straighter line and smoother. So that little change to the function of the bolt is worth its weight in gold. That's a genius little switch there. This is the first of many Ruger precision rifles that I've handled that has actually had a problem with the trigger, and I've got about a 64th of an inch of take-up, and then it breaks, and I'm not including the safety in that. So I'm going to actually request that Ruger send me out a new rifle, and then, or a new trigger, and then get that installed. It's not a big deal. Ruger's taken care of me in the past really, really well. They had one of my rifles back within a week, which was incredible, because you got to figure there's like 4 days of shipping time in there, and it was back, you know, so they might have had that rifle in their hands for all of 2 days, and they did a fantastic job, and I never had problems with it again. I have heard that one guy that I was talking to on one of the forums, he was saying that he had a problem with the accuracy mag. I think it was something to do with a follower. I haven't had any problems with these. I think they're a really nice mag, and I like the fact that there's no binder plate in them, so they have lots of length if you want to really stretch those rounds out and push it. I like these mags a lot more than, you know, the Magpul type mags, because they're flat followers, so you can single feed your rounds into it, and you're not going to have an issue like you do with Magpuls, where they've got a stop on the back, and then it drops down, and what would happen is your round would actually tip like this, and then it wouldn't feed. So there's no issues with that with this. They hold 5 rounds. You know, like I said, there has been some issue, but it's not an issue with the rifle. It is definitely an issue with the magazine. The, you know, magazine installs pretty smoothly. I mean, that's one-handed and kind of an awkward angle. It does not drop free, as it's not meant to, but you can still, you know, manipulate it one hand and work that free, and then reload it one hand. The buttstock is the typical Ruger precision rifle. It's the AR buffer tube type, you know, which allows the feeding of the bolt into the back. I'm going to modify it with my patent pending craft store foam and adhesive, and bring it up a bit and get it out a little bit so that it fits my face a little bit better, because this is just a smidge low for my, you know, for ergonomics of my ugly mug, and, you know, give myself a little bit better cheek rest. That was one thing. This is a little low It doesn't come up quite high enough with the 60 MOA that I have on the, or 60, 70, whatever it is that I have on the scope right now. My one and only complaint with this buttstock is that there's no vertical adjustment on the butt pad. I would like to see them add a vertical adjustment so that you can bring the butt pad up so it's level with the cheek rest, because I find that it's a little bit low and it drops down out of the pocket of my shoulder with my face being higher. And so like on my MDT chassis, I change that all the time. So I would suggest, if you're not a fan of this and they don't change it, that you could actually look at an MDT AR style butt assembly, because that'll actually work with this rifle quite well. And that is something we sell. So if you want to check out the website, we can get that for you, no problem. And that, yeah, that's a shameless plug for the website, but it is a valid thing that you could do to improve the functioning of this rifle, especially if you want to push it, you know, a couple thousand yards, 2,000 plus, which this rifle is definitely capable of. Barrel twist on this is actually a little different than you typically see with a lot of 3/3/8, and that was a really nice thing to see. It is about 1 9 3/8. So that means you've got a more stable round going through the air. Your Miller stability is better, because I want to run those 300s. I want to run those 285 and those 300 grain pills, and I want to go as far as I can go with this thing. 250s are great. There are some advantages, but you know, generally speaking, 300 is kind of the go-to for 3/3/8 now. I'll leave you with saying that if I was to, you know, look at buying this rifle again, knowing what I know, I would buy it again. So I haven't second-guessed this purchase. You know, I've got no buyer's remorse or anything like that. Yeah, so go and get one. Check it out. It's a great way to get into the bigger Magnum calibers, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Just, I'll leave you with one little warning though. It cost me about $1,500 to get into reloading for 3/3/8, and then it costs about $2 a round, roughly, to reload. And you're going to want to anneal your brass, so you know, make sure you get a high quality annealer, get it set up, and then anneal it, you know, every 3 or 4 firings so that they last. If any of you have any comments or questions or experience with the 285 grain pills from Hornady, I'd love to hear those. I'd also like to hear what your experience is with the Hornady 3/3/8 brass. I expect it's going to be really good. I'm shooting Hornady brass all the time, and you know, seeing really, really good results with that. I mean, my son shot it was about an 1.5 inch group at 1,000 yards with the Ruger Precision Rifle 6.5 using Hornady ELD-X. I promised I would tell you guys the surprise feature on this rifle that I don't think anybody else has mentioned. This thing is Arca Swiss compatible right out of the box. It has a rail built right in, so you can run your tripod setup with this thing without having to do any other modifications to it. That gives you guys all sorts of options and saves you a bundle of money, making this thing an even higher value. So yeah, my hat's off to Ruger for doing that. That was a really, really wise move, really, you know, going the extra mile there for people. Surprised it's not mentioned on the website, and I'm surprised nobody else has picked up on that or mentioned it. At least I didn't see it in any other reviews that I watched while checking this out. Lots of good stuff coming up in the future. We're taking part in the release of a new suppressor design, and this thing is gonna change the suppressor world. The recoil reduction is awesome. The sound reduction is equally awesome. This is from a local company, and I'm just chomping at the bit to tell you guys more about it. All right, that's it, guys. Have a happy new year.